Hey, I'm Tim and welcome to Tim's Saying. This is the podcast inspiring you to grow, develop, and thrive through life's challenges. In this episode, we're talking about what setbacks really are and some practical steps on how you can recover, rebuild your confidence, and bounce right back up. Okay, look, I get it. I've been there. We've all been there, facing that moment when things fall apart, when you're questioning everything. It's rough. It's tough. It's never easy. But here's the truth. Setbacks don't define you. They can actually be that spark that leads to your greatest comeback. I'm sure many of us have watched boxing movies when they get knocked down and then they get back up again and again and again, no matter how beaten they are. And I want you to have that picture in your head as you're listening to this episode that life can try and knock you down, but there's always an opportunity to get back up. You can always decide to get back up. You can always choose to get back up, to bounce right back up on your feet and keep fighting and keep going and keep growing and keep developing. We can always bounce back. And in this next few minutes, I want to talk about how to recover from life's setbacks. Let's define setbacks, right? What are setbacks? Because this is quite a broad topic and many people define it differently. So let's just start with the basics. A setback to me personally, it's anything that disrupts your progress. I'll use that word, disrupts your progress. It's that curveball that life throws at you when you least expect it. So let's think football, for example, right? I don't follow football. I don't support any team, but I'm part of this fantasy Premier League with my friends. And at the time of recording this podcast, I'm number 1 out of like 20 people. And what I love about it is sometimes, if football is on, I would maybe try and watch it because I'm curious how my team is going to do. That fantasy team that I've chosen and I've picked. And sometimes I watch it and they have penalty kicks and things like that. And some of the shots, when there's a wall right in front of the goalkeeper, and then they hit the ball and then it just curves nicely around the wall and then it goes in the top corner, top left or top right. I'm like, wow, that's incredible. That must have taken so long to practice and it must have taken so long to perfect. And I thought, isn't life the same? That you're there, you've got that wall in front of you, and you're ready. You've trained to save that curveball. You've trained so hard. You've trained your reflexes. You have worked hard. You've studied, and you're prepared for anything. And then that curveball comes, and then you see it come through right in your blind spot. And it was so quick that there's no time for you to react. That's a setback. That's something that could have been imposed upon you, could have been inflicted. Maybe it's something that's been thrown at you, not of your own choosing. It could be personal, like a relationship breakup. It could be professional, like not getting your dream job or losing a job that you love, or being treated unfairly at work. Or maybe it could be something internal, maybe something that you can't really see, like losing motivation or losing hope. But here's the thing. Every single person faces setbacks. You're not alone. And, okay, I'm not saying that's a good thing. It's easy to feel like you're the only one struggling when you're scrolling through everyone's highlight reels on social media, but trust me, we all go through it. The people that you admire, they go through it. That family member that you think have got it all together, they all go through it. Your heroes and your People that you really admire, they all go through it. Every successful people have gone through or is going through setbacks. But what's important to remember is that the key is understanding that setbacks don't mean failure. They're only permanent if you stop trying. I'll say that again. Setbacks don't mean failure. They're only permanent if you stop trying. So you actually have a choice whether you want these setbacks to be temporary or you want it to be permanent. You have the ball in your court. You can choose whether you're going to do something about this setback or this is going to be your reality. This is going to be permanent in your life. This is going to be tattooed in your journey, that you're never going to get out of this, or you're never going to achieve something, or you're never going to, it's never gonna. It's all of that. Let me give you some examples, and these are true stories. I have a friend, I have a few friends actually, I don't know why. They have taken so many driving tests before they got the driver's license. And I have this one friend who took 7 tests before they got the driving license. 7 attempts, 7 times, 7 driving tests. I'm just mind blown by that. Maybe you can top that. Maybe you're 8, 9, 10. I would love to hear from you. Comment on Instagram at Tim Saying. But maybe you failed at a test, something that you've studied for, something that you've put money in, you've invested in. And that's frustrating, I'm sure. But failing doesn't mean you're a failure. It means you've got an opportunity to learn and come back stronger. I want to encourage you to change your perspective a little bit. When something doesn't quite go as planned, think of it as, wow, no one else have made this mistake. Well, no one else have failed this test today, but there's an opportunity for me to go again. Wow, what a story to tell. You know what? I'm going to tell my family and friends that it took me 7 times to pass my driving test. And I know that's such maybe a small example. It could be a silly example, but 7 attempts, that's money. That's stress. That's time. But I love how my friend, he didn't give up. He just went again. He failed his first one and thought, okay, I'm just going to book another one. I'm going to continue with the test. Yes, it's more money, but I want to get it. I need to drive. I want a car. Second attempt, third attempt, fourth attempt, and then so on. Perhaps there's someone listening to this and you've just lost your job. Losing a job, it can feel like the end of the world, especially when your identity is tied to your work. I think many people get so attached to their work and get so consumed by their work that their identity becomes grounded and rooted in what they do, what their job is and what their career is, what their title is. But here's a thought. What if that job loss is clearing the way and preparing the way for something better? Have you ever thought of that? It's painful now, but it could lead to some of the greatest and biggest opportunities that you ever going to have. What if you were stuck at that work, but actually there's something much greater for you? So change your perspective. Okay, one more example. Maybe there's someone listening here and you're going through a breakup. Let's be real. Breakups hurt. We're people. We have emotions, we have feelings, and they can hurt. I'm thinking maybe a romantic relationship or maybe losing a best friend. Breakup of a friendship or a relationship, it can hurt. Whether you saw it coming or not, it leaves you feeling lost. But breakups can also be the perfect time to focus on yourself, to focus on your self-growth, and to rediscover what you really value in life. You see, setbacks are part of life. They're uncomfortable, sure, but they're also a chance to reset, to rethink, and to rebuild. One key takeaway for today, and one of my favorite topics that I think could really help us on how to deal with setbacks and how to bounce back, is resilience, is being resilient. I love that. Fun fact, when I was in uni, I actually wrote on resilience. My dissertation was all about getting back up and being resilient and what makes someone resilient. Resilience is your ability to bounce back. It's like a mental muscle, you know? It grows stronger the more you use it. And here's the best part. Resilience isn't something that you're born with. Great news. Maybe there's someone listening today and you're comparing yourself to other people and thinking, oh, they're more confident, they're more resilient, they can bounce back quicker. Well, good news is it's not something that you're born with. It's something that you can develop over time. No one is born resilient. Resilience is a skill, not a personality trait, and the more you work on it, the easier it will be to bounce back from future challenges. Psychologist Dr. Martin Seligman studied resilience, and he found that optimistic people, those who believe that setbacks are temporary, they recover faster. They bounce back faster. So it's not about ignoring the bad stuff, don't get me wrong, but it's about deciding how you're going to respond to them. As I've been saying throughout this episode, we all go through challenges and adversities, but the most important thing is how you perceive them and how you respond despite all of these challenges. There's another research on neuroplasticity, which I covered last week. Our brains are wild. They're constantly rewiring themselves. So when you face a setback and choose to keep going, you're literally creating new pathways in your brain that makes you more adaptable and better equipped for the future hardships and challenges. You're making these new roads. Think of it like a new path and building new ways and new avenues. It's like building mental armor. Think about your favorite athletes. When they get injured, they don't give up. They rehab, they train, and they come back stronger most of the time. The point is they go again. They just get back up and then go again. That's resilience in action. Footballers, some of them, they get bad rep and people think, oh, they get so much money. But, footballers, they work hard. You listen to and you watch some of Cristiano Ronaldo's interviews and he says, I go to the gym early. Everyone else is sleeping. I'm there working hard, making sure that I'm fit, I'm well, I am trained physically, mentally. He works hard and he gets loads of money because of it and because of trainings for so many years since he was a child. Hard work will pay off. Let me give you 4 practical steps on how to bounce back. The first step is just accepting what happened. Not in a defeated way, but in a, this is my reality right now, and I'm going to deal with it way, Denying it or beating yourself up, it won't help you move forward. For example, you can say to yourself, okay, I've failed that test, but it's not the end of my story. Number 2, reflection. Once you've accepted a setback, take some time to reflect. Ask yourself, what went wrong? What can I learn from this? See, reflection isn't about blaming yourself. It's about finding the lesson in the mess. It's about finding the lesson in that setback. So going back to the example of driving test and my friend failing 7 times, he reflected. It's like, okay, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? Do I need to look over my shoulder more? Do I need to be more observant? He reflected, and then come 3rd test and 4th test, he made sure that he didn't make the same mistake. And there's a good strategy for this. Maybe you can try writing it out in a journal or talk it over with someone that you trust. Sometimes just getting it out of your head, it can really bring clarity. Number 3 is action plan. When you're feeling stuck, big goals, they can feel overwhelming. So, break them down into small, manageable steps. For example, after a breakup, instead of trying to fix everything, just focus on small wins like going for a run, or cooking a good meal, or reconnecting with a friend, or spending some time with your family. See, these small steps, these small wins can lead to big changes. Number 4, reframe the narrative. Reframe the narrative. Change how you're looking at the situation. Instead of saying, I failed, try saying, I'm learning. Or instead of, oh, I lost, try saying, I'm growing. See, that mindset shift is a game changer. And I'm also a firm believer in the power of your words. Whatever you say, you become. I strongly, strongly believe in that. And if you're saying, oh, I'm a failure, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm never going to be good at this, then you know what? That's exactly what you're going to be. But you'd be so surprised in the power of your words when you start reframing the narrative, when you start going, I lost there, but I'm going to go again. I lost there, but I'm learning, but I'm growing. Watch how those change in your words can impact and affect the next time you go again. Here's the truth. Setbacks are temporary. They don't define your worth or your future. What matters is how you rise after the fall. So remember those 4 steps. Accept what happened, reflect on what you can learn, take small actionable steps, and then reframe the narrative, reframe your mindset. Somebody once said, this is a quote that I've seen and heard many times. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about what? It's about how many times you get back up. So keep getting up. Okay? It's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you go again, how many times you rise up and you get back up. So I want to say this to all my listeners today. Keep getting back up. There's a really encouraging Bible verse that I want to share with you guys in Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." See, this verse reminds us that setbacks, they're not the end of our story. That God has a bigger plan. And even when we don't understand the why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? And so on. We can trust that there's always hope and there's always a future waiting for us. So this week, take a moment to think about a setback that you've faced recently. What's the one lesson you've learned from it? Share your story with me on Instagram at @TimSaying. I'll genuinely love to hear it. And who knows, your story might inspire someone else. Come on, let's inspire one another. And hey, you know what? In the next episode, we are diving into momentum. How to rebuild it, how to celebrate small wins, and how those small wins can lead to big progress. You won't want to miss it. If you've lost momentum or your momentum feels like it's stopped and you're finding it so hard to jumpstart that momentum again, the next episode is for you. Thanks for tuning in today. Remember, setbacks are just setups for comebacks. You've got this. Keep moving forward, stay motivated, and I'll catch you in the next episode.